guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is Wednesday the 27th of January 2021 and this is the Flight Sim News. So it's a pretty good day for news. The new open beta dropped today. We are now sitting at 2.5.66065. And with this new update is a variety of new campaigns launching today. So the F-14 Zone 5 campaign by Reflected Simulations goes live today. The AV-8B Sky Warrior campaign by Eagle 86 goes live today. The FA-18C Operation Pontus campaign by 373VFS_Greg and 373VFS_Peteritus and Baltic Dragon, which is a collaboration with those guys. And my understanding is this is a dynamic campaign for the F-18 so that sounds pretty cool. The F-5E Black Sea Resolve 79 campaign by Sorrel Rowe. The F-16C Red Flag 21-1 campaign by Bunyap Campaigns. And then lastly, the FA-18C Rising Squall campaign by Inverted was released today as well. I think the two that I'm excited most about right now is Zone 5 from Greg over at Reflected Simulations, which I'll be taking a look at over the next week, and the Rising Squall campaign by Inverted. And that's not saying that, you know, there's anything wrong with or the other campaigns aren't as good. I'm just saying personally, those are the things that I'm looking most forward to. Scrolling down through the list, there's a huge variety of fixes and improvements for DCS World in general. And as I read through here, there's nothing that's really standing out to me as being, oh my god, I'm so glad they fixed that, or anything that's kept me from playing it. F10 map measuring tool misaligned. Yeah, I know they did something like a week ago or something to fix something for F10 and VR, I kind of remember. MiG-21 gets adjusted cockpit gauges, glass reflections. The JF-17 looks like it has a nice variety of fixes and improvements. The China Asset Pack by Deca Ironworks also had a few changes or improvements. And then there's a rather long list of stuff by Razbam. So it looks like these guys are really hauling ass on getting things fixed and improved, because the Harrier has a pretty large changelog here, and as does the Mirage 2000. So I might have to jump back in that jet again. I really liked the Mirage a lot, and it was really fun to fly. C101 Avio Jet by Avio Dev has a variety of fixes and improvements. And of course, a lot of the videos we saw over the past few weeks for the Hornet are some of the fixes or improvements that are being added here. Added C mode for radar, added GMT, GMTT radar modes. They talked about that in the video. There's an added transmit designate option on the situational awareness display. That was a video. And then a variety, and I will say a large variety, of other fixes and improvements on down the line. You know, I have to admit, it looks like they really are working hard to try to finish up the Hornet to make it a release candidate. Good for them. And good for all the Hornet players, you know. F-16C Viper. I'm not seeing any major stuff here. There's a variety of fixes and improvements. F-5E Tiger II has a couple things changed. The A-10C has a couple of things changed. P-47D Thunderbolt damaged geometry parts updated. Fixed animation for brake pipes. Tail buffet destroyed the tail too quickly. That has been fixed. Open cowl flaps destruction from buffeting. Light and compass light dimmers animation fixed. That sounds like some pretty cool visual fluff that they've been doing, tweaking the P47D. And then it looks like the BF109 has a couple of small fixes and improvements. Fixed typos in instant action missions and added Russian localization for the instant action mission. P51D, one fix. The Tomcat. Now here is a rather lengthy changelog of fixes and improvements. Added the ability to enter length and heading associated with waypoints on the TID. Added co-op version of Operation Reforager, so that sounds pretty cool. Added a super carrier version of Operation Reforager, although it says whip, which is probably work in progress. Added clickable cockpit on-off toggle to mouse key bindings. Fixed an AIM-9 training mission, fixed the M61 training mission, fixed various issues in Operation Reforager campaign, fixed the Walkman crashing to desktop when switching tape sides, and then a variety of other fixes and improvements on down the line. The Viggen even gets some love this time out. Fixed issue with nav fixes would be made after switching out of Maverick sighting, multiple fixes to FLI and ADI gyroscopes, amongst other fixing drift simulation and misalignment, fixed weapon selector RR mode, erroneously overriding takeoff symbology, and so on. On down to the Gazelle. They've fixed the color of the external lights and fixed the view distance of the external lights, and they've added ammo type selection for the SA342L's GIAT M621 cannon to the mission editor loadout screen and in the in-game rearm refuel screen. Huey. Gunner setting for both modes, single player and multi-crew. Added advanced view settings for gunner view and gun selection. Now player can uncouple them from each other using two presets with head tracking devices such as TrackIR or VR without such devices, and also assign the gun to other access controlling devices. In addition, with a head tracking device, the gunner view and gun direction are automatically uncoupled. That sounds like some pretty useful stuff for multiplayer with the Huey. Also fixed some bugs, and then they fixed the trigger zone being too small in one of the missions. KA-50, not much to report there. Flaming Cliffs, they're still fixing this and adding stuff to it. That's pretty cool, because I do like the Flaming Cliffs planes. And then combined arms, well, yeah, we won't even talk about that. And then they've done some fixes and improvements for various campaigns for DCS. But that is the changelog, and it looks like a rather big one. And again, it's really a good time to be a single player and into DCS because of all of these campaigns that literally went live today. That is, what, 6 campaigns worth of content. That's one hell of a way to start off 2021, I think. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. Speaking of all those campaigns, here is the trailer for the Zone 5 campaign for DCS World for the F-14A by Greg from Reflected Simulations and Dave Bio-Baranek.
Dallas ground, sniper 4 flight, ready to taxi for Squall. Sniper 4, Dallas ground, taxi Foxtrot, Alpha, cross runway 0321,
Hi, I'm Dave Baranek, call sign Bio. I have 2,500 flight hours as an F-14 Rio and was an instructor in the Fighter Tactics and Weapons School for 2.5 years in the 1980s. I've teamed up with Reflected Simulations to bring this training experience to DCS. Welcome to Zone 5.
Recorders on, tight stop.
Watch it! 6 o'clock! 6 o'clock! Come on, go to the pilot kit!
Shooter down. Your hammer radar contact bearing 260 for 30. Roger, same. Copies all, recorders on, tight stop.
That looks absolutely fantastic, and I cannot wait to jump in and try this out. Looks like another job well done from Reflected Simulations, and with some help from Dave Bio-Baranek. And I'm definitely going to jump in and check this out. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. Here's yet another campaign that they were talking about. This is the Operation Pontus campaign.
Flight deck, it's that time of day to muster on top of the bow for today's fog walkdown. Out of your shops, out of your holes, all red shirts, blue shirts, yellow shirts, green shirts, purple shirts, white shirts, brown shirts. Remember, there is no eating, drinking, or use of tobacco on the flight deck.
Attention, this is Skipper. If you're all tired, wish you were back home. But oars are straight and cause is noble. We must protect this country's field. Now take off and make some noise. Let them know that we are coming. We're coming fast. In case they won't change their minds, we'll hit them and we'll hit them hard. We're clear for takeoff. Godspeed.
That's another one that looks absolutely fantastic. It's about 3 minutes long. I didn't want to go into the whole thing because I got a lot of stuff to talk about today. But yet another fantastic campaign starting off 2021 the right way. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as well. So here's another campaign that they're talking about, and this is from Sorrel Rowe. Now this is the guy responsible for the new F5 campaign that was just released today. And this is a campaign for the MiG-21. Man, that is one hard jet to master. But it does look pretty cool that we're starting to see more and more people trying to jump in and help out by making these awesome Cold War style campaigns. So this one looks to be pretty cool. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. Here's yet another launch trailer. This time it's DCS Rising Squall.
Unknown radar contact. Bearing 050. Approaching Aegis Squadron at Mach 2.0. No transponder response.
Copy that, boss. I have them locked. Can we fire yet?
Aegis, this is Cowboy 1. Thank God you're here. Stand by. Raphael, are they here to greet and escort our flight? What? Great.
How freaking awesome is that? And that's only a minute into this almost 4-minute trailer for DCS Rising Squall. This is the one campaign right up there with the Zone 5 campaign that I've really been waiting for and wanting to try. This looks like a super lot of fun, and it's out today. So I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check out the rest of it yourself. One more post on the Reflected Simulation Zone 5 campaign, and this is just to help you guys out if you're wondering. One of the questions he had over and again was, can I play Zone 5 with a human Rio? And he goes on to say, this is probably the most frequently asked question regarding the upcoming Zone 5 campaign. The answer is no, but yes. Let me explain. I designed the campaign in a way that player's aircraft was set to client, so you can either occupy it alone or with a friend. Then came final testing. It turned out that the triggered radio messages don't work in a multiplayer multi-crew. They get into an endless loop and the subtitles just flood the screen. This is completely in Ed's hands. I reported the bug to them. Maybe they already fixed it. I don't know. The next twist is the story came when I found out that the official campaigns don't support missions where there is no player because DCS won't know what module the campaign is for. So I had to update all the missions, changing the unit from client to player. What does this mean? Officially, it's a single-player campaign, period. However, you can easily open the missions editor, change the unit to client, and fly with a friend, provided, of course, that all multi-crew related bugs are fixed. I hope this cleared things up. Sorry if it's not what you wanted to hear, but this is the situation. I want everyone to be aware of what they are or aren't buying. It's only fair. So, once again, it sounds like Eagle Dynamics changing their core as they do, as they progress, have probably broke more stuff again. But they are on it. They're aware of it. So maybe it's fixed in this patch. I don't know. I didn't read every single thing that's in there. But regardless, most people are going to be playing this solo anyway, but it does sound like eventually, if not today with the latest patch, soon I would imagine they'll probably fix it like they always do when they break things, and you'll be able to play it with a friend. So very, very cool stuff and excellent news. I'll throw a link to this in the video description as usual, and you can check it out for yourself. Okay, last up is the A7E Development Update 2021. We got a small update for you for the A7E. Apologies that we've been quiet lately. We've had a few setbacks these last few months that have slowed us down slightly, but work has never stopped completely, and progress continues to be made. Aside from that, we've also been polishing and tidying up our next non-DCS module for release. More on that to come soon. Previously, I've discussed our development plan for the A7E and our intended phases of development. We can now happily report that we are elbow deep into Phase 2 and making excellent progress so far. With flight model making progress in leaps and bounds, we'll soon be turning our attention to avionics and systems development and integrating these with the previously developed core systems. Today, we'd like to ask your thoughts and feedback. In what condition do you prefer to see the cockpit in DCS? Dirty, worn, and aged, immaculate, fresh from the factory, or somewhere in between? Well, I'll tell you what, guys, I kind of don't mind that, dirty, worn, beat-up cockpit, and I think at the same time, I really wouldn't mind it being somewhere in between. Personally, I just think those, completely pristine, right fresh off the, assembly line looking planes don't do much for me. I prefer that worn look, to be honest, and I think a lot of the other guys agree. Next up, a little bit on the artwork. Looks like some work in progress images of the tail there, and then the cockpit, gauges, more dials and buttons for the cockpit, more cockpit stuff. And then they go talking about the flight model. We're very excited to say our flight Phase 1 test EFM has been discarded, and we are now well underway building our first iteration of our full fidelity A7E flight model. Our current model is exponentially more complex than our previous test build and is built from real-world wind tunnel, force, moment, and derivative data for the A7E. The flight model so far is built from a combination of stability and control derivative tables taken from real-world data and force moment lookup tables to accurately capture the unique aerodynamic properties of the A7, including its interesting spin and stall tendencies. WIST available data is compressive and suitable for a detailed simulation. We will be going the extra mile and investing heavily in aerodynamics simulations and CFD software in order to extrapolate additional data, validate current data, and validate additional parameters of our flight model. Wow, is that a lot to say all at once? In this way, we can create a comprehensive aerodynamic database for the A7E, cross-checking and validating data as we do so via CFD simulation and other means. All of this, of course, is a significant amount of work, and we expect work on the flight model to be ongoing for many more months yet as we continue to develop the aircraft systems. With that said, we're extremely pleased with the current progress of the flight model. So far, we've met our development timeline targets and are confident we can produce an excellent flight model. Here's a couple more screens of some work in progress on it. Really looks like a fun plane. This is something I'm definitely on board for. I love those NAM era, Cold War kind of planes in general. Although I'm not a fan of that F5 or the MiG-21 as much, but something about this plane really calls out to me. So that is it for the Flight Sim news for today. And again, as I've said before, it's a fantastic day for DCS solo pilots with all of the campaigns that are out there. So I'll have them all linked in the video description. And as usual, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Feel free to hit that like button. And until next time, guys.